I bought this 25-year-old Prado for $3,000 and it needs some serious love and attention before I can take it out on its first overland trip. Last time, I tidied up the seriously clunky suspension, and today I'm turning my attention to the engine bay. We are going to be giving the Project Prado a comprehensive service. So everything right through from fluids, belts, filters, even the timing belt and the water pump. Right, so one of the first things I need to do is basically get access to everything inside the engine bay. So the intercooler is going to come off, this intake pipe is going to come off, this cowl here around the fan, that's coming off, the fan itself is coming off, all the belts, all the pulleys, they're coming off. That'll give me access to the timing belt, which is in there. Got the main intake pipe off here, airbox, or the top of the airbox at least, it has been removed. The next job is going to be the fan cowl down here so that I can get the cooling fan off. These things are deceptive because they only have 4 bolts holding them on, but they're always a massive pain to get out. So in this case, I'm going to be pulling out, I've got to pull off the top radiator hose, I've got to get this, this main battery strap out the way. And there's 4 bolts holding this on, and then I can get to the viscous fan. Right, so the cowl is out. Now I need to get the viscous fan loose. So down there, you undo those nuts, the fan comes out. And then I've got access to the front of the motor. So we've got the fan off, we've got all the belts off, and now it's time to get at the timing belt and the water pump, which are the deepest 2 items that we're going to be replacing. So if you have a look down there, that's our water pump right there. It's pretty, doesn't feel too bad, but can be improved upon. And the timing belt sits behind that. We have the timing belt cover off, that's cam pulley, that's the diesel pump pulley down there, and then we've got the crank over there, and then that is our tensioner. I just had to do a run to the shops to get a 10mm hex bit, which is what you'll need if you're doing this job at home, to get that tensioner pulley off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull off the belt. So first we're going to pull the tensioner off, then we're going to pull this pulley off, replace the seals behind them because we've got new seals. Then water pump down here. So that water pump comes out. Just a quick one, timing, line up these marks here on the cam pulley. You'll see there's a little pin and you line it up with the slot. So there you'll see there's another little triangle marked into the casing along with a timing mark on the diesel pump pulley. So you want to make sure all of those are lined up when you reassemble everything, otherwise your engine can go boom. I don't know how much of it's coming from here, but I'm definitely getting oil out here. So that trace there, a little bit of blackness, means that at least part of my oil leak is coming from this channel right here. All right, so I've pulled the face of the pump off there. You can see there's a bit of corrosion in there, so it's going to be good to get that casing changed out as well. As I've been pulling the old pump off, I've been putting the bolts in to the new pump in the same locations, because sometimes the bolt lengths differ. So this is the new pump with the housing, so I've already sealed up the housing with the gasket, so I'm not worried about that when I'm assembling it on the vehicle. Now I'm going to pull the casing out of the motor, out of the car, just there. So aircon compressor here, batteries obviously out, so the aircon compressor can get moved out of the way. Then this bracket actually gets in the way of the water pump housing coming out. So all right, so that is what I needed to get off, so I had to strip all that away to get to that. I can now start cleaning off this face here and pop the new gasket on. All right, we've jumped to nighttime. It's almost time to put the kids to bed and do all those fun things. But before I do that, I just need to do one last little job on the Prado before I put it to bed for the night. I'm now going to chuck some blue gasket maker, just a thin bead of the blue gasket maker onto the motor side of the gasket. Then I'm just going to finger tight the pump back into place, and then tomorrow, about 12 hours later, I can then fully tighten the pump. So pretty sure back there is where I'm getting my leak. That over there is called a half moon. I want to make sure that that is clean and clear before I put anything back together. The head has been tidied up. I've got the front plate back on with the camshaft oil seal in place, and I've gooped up the rocker cover, and as you can see, it's all nice and tidy. So now the rocker cover is going to go back on there, finger tight, let the goop do its thing overnight, and then tomorrow I'll be able to torque that up, and then I can get on with the rest of the motor while that sets. While the gasket maker is drying in the rocker cover, I'm going to be replacing these two little hoses here. So these are both coolant hoses. A great idea while you're here to change those out, because it's a real pain in the butt to get to them, as you would have just seen. Right, I've got those two little pipes in place, and now I'm going to do the last job that's down in the bowels there behind the alternator, and that is to pull the thermostat out. I'm doing that because if that thermostat stops working, the engine will get hot. It will likely crack its head. Got the new thermostat in hand, just got to pop it in. The alternator's back in along with its bracket. I have replaced those two small water lines or coolant lines. I've replaced the thermostat, and this is where we're at. Air conditioning compressor goes there. I've just moved it out of the way here, and we've got to do the timing belt. So far I've got the timing belt back on, I've got the two of the accessory belts back on, I've got one left to go. Need to tension all those up. But while I'm here, I'm going to be installing this. This is the temperature sender for a engine guard. So basically what it is a thermometer. So this is going to measure the temperature of the head. So it's actually going to measure that head temperature, not coolant temperature, and it's going to let me know if the motor is ever at risk of overheating. All right, so I've resealed the intercooler. I've tightened down the rocker cover with the new fancy nice new seal that it's got on there. Everything's tightened, the air conditioning compressors in, the alternators back in, the timing belt is on, and now it's just reverse of disassembly as I chuck everything back together. So there's no new parts going on for this bit, so I'm going to time lapse it. So let's get on with it. This plug here is this little lighter socket, or the cigarette socket here. I've made up a little jumper lead that allows me to piggyback off of that supply without cutting those cables. So I can plug this straight into that, and then this becomes the power supply for the engine guard.